Well, happy Monday evening to you. Chris Hare, the multiple time world champion crypto cowboy, bringing you another nightly update. Going to do it a little different tonight. We're just going to go over Bitcoin. I'll drop an Ethereum video later, but the algorithm says you guys like it that way. You're kind of shutting off after Bitcoin, so we're going to go ahead and do it that way. But we're at a critical crossroads tonight. We've got rate cuts tomorrow. Bitcoin's kind of at a resistance, but we have found strong support above that 50 moving average on the daily. So, where do we go from here? It's an interesting setup. I've added a few things to go over tonight because I think they're critical to what we're looking at. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We'll start off with that crypto fear and greed index, just like we do every night. Currently sitting at a 42. We were at a 33 last week, guys, and last month I think we went down to 34. But I've sounded like a broken record, and I did it to prove a point. Every time we drop into fear or extreme fear, it's an excellent time to buy. If you would have bought while we were in fear, you'd be in profit today. That's why I say it's worth buying. I've bought some spot over the last few days, and happy days, it's in profit. Everything's going well. So keep that in mind. I went ahead and added Polymarket's rate cut odds tonight. Seeing that that's happening tomorrow, I kind of thought it was relevant, but we've got a 98% chance of 25% cut or 25 basis point cut tomorrow. I think there's good and bad with that. The good side is I don't think this one's priced in. The last time we had that terrible dump, I think those rate cuts were priced in, but I don't think they are this time. But there's also the concern of recession fears when you get into things like that, and how that, and that creates uncertainty, and markets clearly don't like uncertainty. So that's why I brought it up. I went ahead and added the ETF inflows tonight. I think it's relevant. You can see back a few days ago, about a week ago, we had those terrible outflows as the markets were crashing. But for the last 3 days, we've had a steady inflow coming in, and I like to think that that's bullish. So that kind of paints the picture for where we're going. We'll go on over to a liquidation heat map. We'll talk about that. This tracks liquidity. So the market makers draw the charts. They go after liquidity. They don't care where your stop losses are, but they can see them. They see where your liquidations are, and their sole purpose is to work this chart up and down and rob liquidity. So anything above price action is a short trade. Anything below price action is a long trade. You can kind of see we've got some bright pockets of long trades right around 112.2. There's another pocket at 130, 114,000. But cumulatively, $605 million in short trades to the top side. To the bottom side, $2.64 billion in long liquidations. So we've got a clear imbalance. The charts are going to kind of tell us what's going on here. I'm wondering where we stop, or if we crash and keep going. And I don't think it's a crash and keep going, but I think we're in a retest tonight, and it's setting us up for the rate cuts tomorrow. So let's get into the charts. Let's take a look at what's going on. Kind of a critical moment tonight, like we've said. Lots of things happening this week. Employment data comes out, rate cuts tomorrow. A lot of volatility coming in. I kind of sat out today. I had some long trades. I closed them this morning, and then just kind of sat and let this thing do it. Because like I've said before, anytime we're below the 50 smooth moving average, I look for shorts. Anytime we're above it, I look for longs. So I'm not going to short down into heavy support. I'm going to wait for it to lose that support, retest, and then I'm going to jump on it there. But you can see on the 4-hour chart, we came up, tested the bottom of that upper 4-hour golden zone right at about 116.8. Now we've rejected, and we're kind of retesting. What I'm waiting for here is I want to see what happens right here at this 50 moving average. If we set that and bounce, then happy days, we're headed up to this golden zone. But you can see the 50 smooth moving average for the 4 hours sits at about 112,000. That takes 50 of these candles, puts a fluid line on the chart, and it works as excellent support and resistance. The yellow line is a simple moving average. So the smooth basically takes a composite of the simple moving average and the exponential moving average that I don't really use. It just doesn't serve me well. And it puts a composite, and that's what this white line is. The red line is the 200 moving average, smooth moving average. It takes 200 of these candles, puts another fluid line on the chart, and works as excellent support and resistance as well. You can see my dashed line. I've got an alert set here. A lot of times on these, I just set alerts. Don't worry about them. Quit looking at my charts and come back when those alerts hit. So that's where I am right now. What could be possible here? Well, I think it's possible to come down to about a 111.5. If we lose this 50, we're going to settle in this golden zone somewhere around 108 or 109. Then it's anybody's guess what happens. We could consolidate in here, break to the downside, try to test out this weekly smooth moving average at about 112,000, or we could bounce up out of this and start working up. I'm bullish here, guys. I think there's a run left in the tank. If you go by Elliott wave theory, we finished 3 waves. We're working down to 4. Top of wave 1 sits about 111,400. That's where I'm at. I know that's complicated, but you more advanced guys are going to appreciate what I'm offering up there. So that gives you an idea. Get up to this 4-hour golden zone, consolidate and come down. We'll probably come back and retest that 50. If not, we consolidate and we move out of this. Next target's 132,000 to 141,000. Moving on to the daily chart, we're going to get a better idea. I left smart money concepts on just so you can see the amount of support that we have below us. So big bullish order blocks. That's always a good sign. It always is bullish when you get those. But you can see on the daily, bottomed out here again, somewhere around 103.9, and we've came up. We retested those 50 moving averages, failed, came back up, tried to test them. Looks like we cleared it, retested, and now the daily's working up. So that's bullish to me. So like I said, what I think is we're retesting those 4-hour 50s. We're going to work our way up. Daily golden zone, looking at 117 to 122,000. If we can consolidate and move up from here, you're headed to 132, 141,000. If for some reason we lose this 50 smoothing moving average, I think our next stop is 108,000 to 103,000. If things get ugly, guys, we're headed way a little bit lower. The 200 moving average sits at about 98,000, and you do have the weekly golden zone and the daily extensions from 90 to 80,000. The further we get along in this move, the less likely I think that is to happen. I think we're just going to run on up here, guys. And that kind of gives me a concern about how high we go. But I think there's room to run. If you look at the daily chart or the weekly chart, we've tapped this 50 simple moving average every time in the bull run, and every single time we bounce off of it. So I think this is the run. I think we're probably moving up from here. You can see the weeklies are a little red, but that's okay. 50 smooth moving averages here. It looks like we're probably just working on that retest that we've talked about. Next move's going up, 117 to 121,000, 133 to 142. If we can do a retest here, there is an opportunity to hit about 150, 160,000. I'm not confident in that move right now. I think 150,000 is probably about all you're going to get out of this. The 2.618 is at about 167,000. So there's a possibility of getting there if this run is extremely strong. We'll play this day to day, guys, but the further we get up here, the more I'm going to think about pulling profits off a spot. I don't think this bull run has much left in it. I think this time when we come down, it's going to be ugly, and we're going to come down and probably test out 90 to 85, and we could go even lower, somewhere around 70,000. And if we lose that, the rest is history. Bull run's over. But that gives you a pretty good idea on Bitcoin. I'm pretty optimistic that we're getting into the run here. We've set out support all along the way, and we just keep finding a support and climbing above it, finding a support, climbing above it. And that's what I like to see. That's when I start getting interested in taking trades. Like, we took some trades over the weekend. They did really well. They were a little late to get in, but it looks strong coming over that 50. So we went ahead and took them. But like I said, we've closed those trades out now, and we're sitting, waiting on us to come back and retest. And then I think we're off to the races, guys. And if we don't, it's okay. We'll grab a short at the 50 and we'll ride it down as far as it wants to go. Then we'll try this move again. Not a big deal. It's just simple trading. It's having a strategy, knowing exactly when you need to jump. It's that shot that I talk about when you're in rodeo, where you need to make the shots you know you can make. And when you do that over and over and over and over, you get more efficient, you get faster, and that's when you get more competitive, and that's when you get to these world title levels. And that's what I'm going to do with your crypto trading. We're going to start out slow, and we're going to work, and we're going to work, and we're going to work, and all of a sudden it gets easy. I told the guys in the crypto school today, you'll find links to that in my description. We haven't lost but one trade in 14 days. I think that's pretty good odds. And it's just a simple strategy that works, and we stick to the rules. We don't veer from it, and we make money. Simple. That's all there is to it. Well, once again, thanks for watching the video. If you really enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe, tap that bell notification. Leave us a comment. It helps the YouTube algorithm, and I love hearing from you guys. I've met some pretty interesting people, and I really enjoy it. I can't thank you guys enough. But links to the crypto school are down there. You'll find a link to my X page. You'll also find a link BitUnex to get you some sweet deals and get you started on some trading. But like I said, I'm going to wrap it up tonight. I've said enough already. Be looking out for an Ethereum video. I've also got one for Caspa going to drop tomorrow. So I'm going to close it out with that. Chris Hare, the Crypto Cowboy. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you down the road.